Hello friends, today I'm talking about the Earthsea trilogy by Ursula Le Guin. I finished the last book, The Farthest Shore, a few days ago, and it was quite good. And so I'm going to be talking about that. I intend to finish the series in full, and I'll talk about the rest of the books whenever I end up finishing them. It took me like a little over a month to finish all these, but I was taking it slow as well because I think that these books work better when you take them slow. So, and also I want to preface that I'm not doing spoilers in this video, so if you intend to read the books, this is more of the sort of you getting to know the books and maybe if you want to read them or not. So, starting with The Wizard of Earthsea, the first book in the series, my favorite in the series. This book is absolutely amazing. I was really just enraptured by this when I first read it. It follows the story of Ged, who is this, he starts as a boy. It's sort of a coming-age story as he becomes a wizard later in life. He's just a fantastic protagonist, so well written. The world feels so big and expansive, and the journey just feels so long and arduous. And that kind of goes for the rest of the books. Le Guin is just really good at making the story feel like you've really gone on a journey, you know? I just get as a protagonist, he's so wise and good. He's a very good person, but he's ultimately like very human and has to face these internal struggles. And I like that the book is about this sort of internal conflict and these internal, it's very with the main character, and it's not so much focused on like going and defeating some evil antagonist or something like you would normally see in fantasy. It's a very sort of personal, introspective kind of fantasy, which I really enjoy. This book is really great. It's not very long. None of these books are very long. It's just it's pretty much a perfect book, I think. And some really tense moments, honestly. I really love this. The next book is The Tombs of Atuan, and I did enjoy this. A female protagonist this time. Ged is there too. The whole trilogy is the Ged story, technically, but it follows his perspective in the first book and then two other characters' perspectives in the second and third book. So, I think this one, it can definitely continue that focus on the internal conflict, and I really do like the new character that it explored it through. There was almost a lot more, it was a lot more heavy, I think, than the first book in some ways, but I don't feel as though this book was as expansive. Most of it took place in one location, and so it didn't have that going on a journey feel as the first one. There also wasn't as much like magic and like dragons and, cool kind of fantasy stuff in there, so I kind of liked it a little less for that reason, but it still had really great character work, and it was written really well. There's not much for me to complain about. It's just I prefer the more journey of the first novel. But we sort of went back to form in The Farthest Shore, where we follow Arin, who is a sort of young prince character, and his journey with Ged to like discover this sort of something evil that's going on in the world. It's a little bit more of a traditional-esque fantasy story. It's definitely, again, still focused on like that internal conflict, and you get some really dark moments in this. But this book definitely tried to up the stakes compared to the last few books, and I do find Arin's story very compelling. I enjoyed this one, but I did find the ending to be just a little anticlimactic. I think it built up these very high stakes, and so you kind of expect them to pay off in a way that's really like big and dramatic, but to me it didn't like really hit me that way. And ultimately, like, the book isn't about the like plot going on. It's certainly more about the internal struggles of the characters, but it also felt like it was going for more of that plot than the other books were, and so I kind of expected a little more from it. In any case, though, it has some of the darkest moments that go really deep into this sort of despair that the characters feel, and it hit me pretty hard. So it's, I mean, I'm not even really sure if you could read this to a kid. It gets pretty grim at times, like on the verge of death, like complete hopelessness, kind of. And also, it marks the end of Ged's story, and I did quite like the ending of his character. I thought it was nice. I don't, yeah, I'm curious to see where the rest of the series goes. I almost feel like I might lose a little bit of interest now that Ged's not in it anymore. Because in the Tombs of Atuan and The Furthest Shore, it was like Avengers moment when Ged comes in. You're like, oh my gosh, it's our boy. But, you know, Le Guin is a great writer, and she can really make you fall in love with a character very quick. So I'm not too worried. Yeah, so that'll pretty much do it for this video. I highly suggest reading these books if you like fantasy. They are fantasy classics. I mean, me talking about them, these have been around for a really long time, so I'm probably not saying anything that hasn't already been said, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've probably already read them. So yeah, but I liked them quite a lot. The reason I I got into Ursula Le Guin was because of The Dispossessed, which is one of my favorite books ever now that I've read it. And so then I decided to read the Earthsea trilogy because I've heard great things about it. Well, the Earthsea series, because it's more than just a trilogy. But yeah, and I'll gonna probably read more Le Guin books from here on because she's amazing and she's an anarchist. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.